This Great Dane is walking through the kitchen when a small object crosses its path. Another orb passes by and immediately gets noticed. You don't have to be an animal lover to tell this dog is clearly surprised and uncertain at what it's seeing. The animal freezes in place and then switches into hunting mode, tracking something invisible all throughout the house. I guess the dog could just be reacting to an insect or something, but that doesn't explain one last part, which occurs approximately 1 minute and 23 seconds into the video. This is the exact moment when the headlights of a passing car illuminate a shadowy figure as it runs from left to right. Many people believe this could be a supernatural presence manifesting itself as a shadow person. This, combined with the dog's behavior, certainly seems to create a strong enough case for the paranormal. In Toy Story, the toys come to life in a charming manner when the kids are away, but when it happens in this video, it's more chilling than charming. Originally posted to TikTok by Oscar Furlan, the video shows a Woody doll standing upright on the kitchen counter with one hand on a can. Noticing that a human person has entered, the doll glances over at him before dropping his hand, going stiff like a board, and falling over backwards into the kitchen sink. Although it truly does look eerily real, some claim it's an animation, while Redditor Anna Cabana says the dolls are designed to fall over in this manner when hearing the phrase, "someone's coming." Regardless of whether it's an animation or the toy's design, I think we can all agree with Mythical Gamer 9 who writes, it looks a bit too real, still very creepy, definitely not a toy on my wish list. This clip calls into question whether or not there's life on Mars. According to Redditor GamersGen, this video was captured by NASA's Curiosity rover over Mars. On the 23rd of August 2012, GamersGen linked an AI-enhanced version in 4K to the post. The video is actually a series of photographs, so the rate at which it appears to fly is inaccurate. Regardless, the photo series shows an unknown flying device moving over the horizon of the planet's Barrett landscape. It flies to a point where it hovers overhead for a moment before moving off and out of sight. Well, of course, many call fake in the comments. Others claim it could be part of something larger. However, a Redditor throws down some math, noting that the rover supposedly takes a photo every 5 minutes. If this is the case, it's pretty unusual that nothing changed on the planet's surface, nor did the light or rover shift in that amount of time. Logical, but then again, X-Files advises us to trust no one. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Buddy and Rascal. This 2-part submission starts with a photo. The Redditor wrote, "Caught this face while me and my mom were putting the boards on our basement windows. Our house was built in 1901. This image got a ton of upvotes with commenters praising its realness and asking for more evidence. The Redditor then posted a video writing, "Here is a video of our basement. I personally don't see anything, but if you guys do, please let me know." In the comments, Wrangler Greedy 2976 thought they saw movement in the crawl space at the 16-second mark.
So you walk down here, and the first thing you're greeted by is our crawl space. I don't know what light to turn on so you can see it better, but that's our crawl space. And then this is the window that the face was in. Don't like this window, but the crawl space isn't much better. There isn't very good vibes back here.
Do you see what this commenter is talking about? Nevertheless, let's hope Buddy and Rascal are able to capture more paranormal evidence in this home. Some visitors should definitely call ahead. Posted to the Ring subreddit by Ashlyn Bra. This resident had an unexpected visitor at her door around 6 p.m. on Vancouver Island. The Ring camera footage shows an enormous bear sniffing around the front porch of this resident's home. After bypassing the front door, the bear wanders to a side window, looking briefly up at it, as if considering entering this way. The massive animal then makes its way around the side of the garage and out of sight. Many in the comments are saying pass to this one, while Redditor Bubba9999 is wondering why it has a collar on. Was it tagged for wildlife tracking purposes, or does this big bear have an owner? More importantly, is he going to make this a regular thing? When you have video proof from not one, but 3 angles, it's hard for paranormal deniers to say it's all in your head. Posted by one Ocelot4 to the Ghosts subreddit, the Redditor caught the strange shadow in his kitchen on a security camera. He said the window shutters were down and nothing in the kitchen was turned on. He also mentioned in the comments that he sometimes feels cold spots in the hallway, and his security camera often goes off when he leaves the house. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, the following footage is hard to explain. The clip shows a large, dark shadow flash past, falling over the kitchen entryway for just a moment. Not only has the uploader captured this footage from one vantage point, but he has all 3 cameras on it, and they all show the creepy shadow flicker past. What in the world could be creating this terrifying effect? Those in the comments have plenty of theories. Redditor Mr. Mesquite says it's obviously a ghost writing. Very harmless unless you are harmed. Good luck. While many note that it could be something casting the shadow from outside through the windows, the Redditor reiterates that the shades are closed. So who do you choose to believe? Is there a practical explanation? Or should this Redditor bring in a medium and scope out the situation? As another Redditor suggests, whatever happens, I don't think I'd be entering that kitchen for a while. A Twitch streamer named Jake is visiting another country and enjoying the downtown nightlife. It's getting really late and he's about to turn in when 2 girls he's never seen before walk up with huge smiles and start dancing with him. They're acting like they've known Jake for a long time, while this guy in gray lurks in the background. Jake doesn't mind the attention at first, but he grows progressively more confused until one of them speaks in English, so as not to alert the man nearby.
Listen, behind you, there's a man. I saw it. She needs to help us, okay?
You can see he's staring really hard at the women with a serious expression. He's also standing way too close and looks to be within grabbing distance. When he looks over at them again, they try to play it cool by jumping up and down in fake excitement and acting like they don't even notice him. In reality, they are literally too scared to make eye contact with him, and they're turning to Jake for help.
Yeah, he's still staring at us. He's still staring at us. Okay, hold on.
Wait, do you know that guy? Get that guy on camera.
He's leaving.
Jake hangs around for another few minutes until the man wanders off. The girls hug each other out of relief and quickly dart the other way. I really hope this man had second thoughts about whatever he was going to do, but something tells me he wandered off to find an easier target. This kind of video really shouldn't exist anywhere in this day and age, but sadly people like this creeper are still out doing weirdly bizarre things like this. Kudos to Jake for stepping in and putting a stop to it here. A while back, a YouTuber named Hey Charmaine somehow came across a creepy doll head that she found fascinating in a way that was hard to explain. She gets a really weird feeling from it and knows this is more than an ordinary piece of plastic. So she puts it by her bed with the camera on at night to see what happens. One night the creepy doll head moves all by itself, or so she says. It's pretty weird, but notice how the video has been sped up, a sign of stop motion photography. If this video was shown at regular speed, I would be more likely to believe it, but the movements look very abrupt, like somebody kept repositioning the doll a little at a time and sped up the video to create the illusion of movement. What would you do if you ran into a massive python in the paranormal all in one night? Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by Catch 'em All Fishing. That's exactly what happened to this explorer as he trapezed through the ramshackle underground city. In fact, Zach seems to have gone here specifically to look for snakes. The abandoned place is, in and of itself, creepy enough. He keeps shouting hello as he begins his journey, and his echo rings eerily throughout the enormous space. The dark, damp place seems like the perfect breeding ground for snakes. At one point, around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Zach appears to capture the beam of a flashlight bouncing off a distant wall. He also hears voices. He may not be alone down here. He rushes over to see who else is there, but he says the voices have stopped. Then he hears the haunted voices again. It's more like a moaning, which is made even more terrifying by the echo. Then at 5 minutes and 53 seconds, Zach abruptly turns to a doorway, seeming to sense something there, and it appears that something is there. If you watch in slow-mo, an obscure figure is standing in the darkness of the opposite room. Although he got the heck out of there, Zach's night didn't end there. As he's driving home, he crosses paths with what he'd been looking for all along, a snake. Zach chases down an enormous python. He manages to grab it by the tail while the snake tries to bury its head in the sand. He grips the snake near its head and shows the audience its fangs as the python starts to wrap its thick body around his arm. I think this is exactly why you should never grab a python. Zach tries to release the snake into a bag and does manage to collect him and zip him inside without getting tagged. Between encountering what may have been the paranormal in the underground city and prying this python from his arm, one thing's for sure, this dude has nerves of steel. This laboratory is said to be frequented by a spirit who is always near. Here you can see a door pull open by itself with no one standing on the other side. Just in case you were thinking someone could have opened it off camera, here's the same event from another angle, this time taken from the other side. No one is nearby, otherwise they would have cast a shadow on the wall, or else be visible in the reflection of the clean lab floor. Unless this door is controlled by a button we can't see, then there should be no way for it to open by itself. So what do you think? Is this real or just a staged video, cooked up by a bored scientist at work? A team of ghost hunters are inside of an abandoned home when they catch what appears to be a transparent phantasm at the top of the stairs.
Hold still for a second. Hello?
I'll admit that I did not see what they were talking about at first, but when you replay the video at half speed, it's easier to see a clear outline of a person's head and shoulders. The figure starts out facing the camera and then darts through a door on the right. I'm not sure if this is CGI or not, but let me know if you can see it, and if so, what you think it was. Have you ever caught something creepy on video while using an app? That's what happened to these people, who posted the footage to Reddit. Watch the window behind the girl. About 4 seconds into this clip, you'll spot exactly what scared her. At the beginning of the video, nothing can be seen silhouetted by the light from the window, but 4 seconds in, when the girl pans over the window again, this figure appears. What is that? It looks like the figure is walking around inside her apartment. While some think this is obviously a ghost, and others a gargoyle, some in the comments of the video are in fear for the girl's life. Viggy Poos writes, if it's not a ghost, it may be an intruder. Please call the police. Others believe that there's some more plausible explanations. Nicosaurus Rex, for instance, says that it looks like it could be some item stood up on a dresser or surface that she passes by. It does appear as though she's turning the corner while trying to avoid something near the hallway, so the explanation could very well be just that. The figure is rather something out of focus stood on a surface closer to the hallway. Whatever it is, I think we can all agree this video raises many questions, while at the same time being incredibly creepy. A YouTuber named Ariette Jane is live streaming a road trip when suddenly an unidentified creature bursts through the traffic, nearly causing a wreck.
Here we are. San Diego Freeway coming up.
Boom.
We are there.
Awesome.
Whoa! Dude! What was that? He wasn't on a motorcycle.
The speeding object leaves a short trail of fire behind, almost like it has a turbocharger of some sort, yet it's going way too fast to be an ordinary vehicle. My guess is this is computer-generated special effects, but if that is the case, then I don't know how he got the cars to slow down all at once to make this shot look so realistic. Maybe there was traffic ahead or something and he edited this creature in later. Either way, Eerie Aunt Jane swears that this video is 100% real, and I'd like to know if you agree with him or not. Buckle your seatbelts. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, this video is apparently forbidden in most countries, and it's clear why. The footage shows two lit up objects in the sky. They're both moving slightly, with one of them moving a bit faster than the other and in different directions. The lights blink as the unidentified flying device on the bottom moves up towards the one above it. Suddenly they fuse and it sends a shockwave through the sky like a bolt of lightning. What in the heck just happened here? The uploader stumbled across the freaky forbidden video in the summer of 2018. Some think it's most likely a clip from an indie movie. Redditor The Lovely Raven 313 points out, if this actually happened, the media would be on it. Many agree with this sentiment, while some are willing to suspend their disbelief when asked what it is. The Redditor admits he doesn't know. That's why I'm posting this, to try and solve the mystery, he writes. Can you solve the mystery? I'm at a loss here. Listen closely, you might not be hearing things. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor explains that she was home alone with her daughter, watching a kid's show when she heard an old man clearing his throat and speaking in the background of the video she was filming.
Come on.
Many others in the thread hear the voice too, with Redditor temperamental elements saying it sounds like the man says, "What?" The Redditor asks, do you have any male relatives that have passed? Maybe they're back to see your baby girl. Boss said that the child's great-grandpa had passed away a little over a year ago. Perhaps great-grandpa is reaching out. Should they reach back? Two people are heading down the road when a third person looks right at them and steps in their path. Watch this part and you can see that he clearly waits for them to get close and does this on purpose.
Are you kidding me?
But here's where things get really strange. According to the uploader, when he turned around, the man was completely gone. He called the police and they had no luck finding him either. Could this have been a spirit doomed to repeat its last moments on Earth? A TikToker named Prince of Stitches is about to go to sleep when this late night visitor takes over his spot. Moments before he lies down, the floating white smear somewhat resembles the arm and shoulder of someone sleeping on their side, perhaps someone who once passed away in this very same spot, or it could just be how the light from this mounted lamp is hitting the camera. There's a somewhat similar looking effect happening next to the lamp, shown here. Light artifacts aside, that still doesn't explain how the covers pulsate likely like the shallow breathing of someone deep asleep. Either he put something under the sheets to make them do that, exactly what I don't know, or it's time to check out and find a non-haunted hotel that won't make you room with a ghost. If you don't want poltergeists keeping you up at night, you might want to erase that pentagram on the wall. Published by Seeker of Ghosts in December of 2021, a demon poltergeist is captured in action in the scary video. The crew enters the apartment to find a red pentagram drawn on one wall with unusual symbology drawn around it. It seems like whoever was here before was welcoming demonic activity with open arms, and the demons obliged. In one clip, a doll spins around on its own, sliding very quickly across the floor. Later, a string that's hanging across the room appears to be cut by something invisible. And then, the most shocking evidence, a stool flies across the room, scraping over the floor. Are the demons responding to the pentagram? What are they trying to tell these ghost hunters? I think the best decision is to get the heck out of there. This Colombian video from 2008 is apparently the last footage taken by 4 men that disappeared, found inside an abandoned car. The footage shows the men driving towards a strange person dressed in all white, possibly a wedding dress.
Arranca.
No, despacio, hágale despacio.
Esa
mierda, huevón, hágale despacio.
They slowly approach the person and attempt to drive around them, and that's where the video ends. What happens next is a complete mystery, since this was the only footage found. skeptics have been unable to debunk this video or find the whereabouts of the disappeared men that were mentioned. It appears whoever was standing on the road that night will remain a mystery. The next time you're relieved to find yourself alone in an empty subway car, consider that maybe you're not alone at all. Published to YouTube in June of 2015, this clip shows a subway car that will give you the chills. A lone man sits aboard the haunted car. After watching the clip, we wonder if he's the sole passenger, because this car has a reputation for being haunted. Because look at this darkened window pane to the left. A scary, distorted face appears here, changing expression slightly as the man sits on the opposite side, completely unaware. The face disappears and the window pane goes black again, but the distortion later reappears, looking equally upsetting. What do you think is going on here? Is this an actual face in the window, or just a trick of the light coupled with motion from the subway? A YouTuber named Doritos Reaction is doing a 24-hour challenge in a relatively normal-looking hotel, except it's supposedly haunted by the spirits of numerous children. Now, while wandering around the hallways late at night, he wants to see if the rumors are true, and apparently he gets his wish.
Was that a kid?
Dorito manages to catch the dark silhouette of a boy running down the hallway at full speed. Notice how the boy's footsteps don't make a sound as he sprints away. Dorito rushes back to the elevator, only to find the doors opening and closing on their own, so he takes the stairs back to his room instead and doesn't leave for the rest of the night. I think this may have been one of his friends pretending to be a ghost, but then again, I'd like to get your thoughts. A Reddit user named Necromini posted this CCTV of a ghost captured at her friend's home. A translucent figure walks back and forth from one side of the room to the other multiple times, often fading from sight about midway across and reappearing a few feet away. After a while, it becomes slower and moves in place, eventually fading away into an orb that floats up towards the camera and disappears. The remarkable timing of this event rules out any possibility of a glitch, which makes me suspect that this was either some clever editing or truly paranormal. A coffee shop in New Jersey, known only as the Cafe, is rumored to be quite haunted. This used to be a hardware store long ago, and every day at 3 in the afternoon, the old owner is said to still make rounds. A paranormal investigation team sets up a camera to test the rumor out, and sure enough, at 3 in the afternoon, this light anomaly plays against the wall. It looks like someone is walking through the room at first, but then again, it could simply be light reflecting off the window of a vehicle driving by. Roughly half an hour later is when a second camera records this chair moving by itself. First it pulls out and then it smoothly goes back into place, like somebody sitting at the table. There are no strings on the legs and no visible shadow on the wall, so I think it could have been a ghost like they say it was. The ghost hunters also claim to have heard footsteps too, but unfortunately the video evidence does not have sound, so there's no way to verify that part of their investigation. This happened in May of 2020, so hopefully we get more potential ghost sightings from this coffee shop in the near future. A YouTuber named Davey Dustin has a channel that is all gameplay videos, except for this one. This is when he and his friend decide to explore no less than 4 old abandoned houses in the spirit of Halloween. Most of the houses are a little more than a series of rusted out rooms, but the final house feels way off. They feel out of place almost as soon as they step in, but they manage to get through a locked door and keep going. Almost immediately, they notice broken glass on the floor stained in red.
Is that blood?
They continue to find more red stains in other rooms and debate whether this is paint or something else more sinister. Orbs are circling all around them now as they investigate deeper into the house. Something is very wrong in this section and they can feel it. Eventually, they discovered a tattered old photograph of a family. It looks to be at least 20 years old, if not more. Maybe they used to live here, and if so, perhaps the red substance on the floor used to belong to them. Things only get worse upon reaching the basement, where a mysterious hole in the wall gives them both a dreadful feeling. A single white tennis shoe is laying just outside the hole, forgotten long ago until this very moment. Maybe the other shoe is buried in the hole, still attached to its owner. It's 5:36 in the morning, hours before anyone should be inside of the Safety Harbor Public Library in Florida. Everything looks to be in order until this book goes flying off the shelf for absolutely no reason. The opening librarian was surprised to find a book lying perfectly balanced on the floor the next day. So they checked the security camera only to find this strange occurrence. Even if this was set up and someone was standing on the other side of the shelf to push a book to the ground, there's no way they could have made the book balance perfectly on its side like that. It really is as if a poltergeist purposefully made the book land in that position, so as to attract as much fearful suspicion as possible. And apparently it worked. Imagine waking up one morning and finding this thing lurking in one of the most intimate areas of your home. That's the reaction of a YouTuber named Stephanie Van Tinnen and her mother upon finding a huge rat in their toilet. They start talking about how to get rid of the giant rodent and finally come up with a plan. When coaching it to jump into the bag doesn't work, Stephanie grabs a glove and a towel, and with the help of her mother, finally gets it inside of the bag. Her mother runs outside of the house and puts the rat in the front lawn. My question is, do you think you would have had the courage to grab a possibly diseased rat straight from a sewer like they did, or would you have called Animal Control Services? To be honest, I probably would have contacted Animal Control Services. A YouTuber called Douglas Cash stands at the entrance of these caves in the Bahamas. The stunning scenery grows less colorful and more claustrophobic as he takes a few hesitant steps inside. Soon he finds himself staring down a tunnel that looks barely large enough to support a human when a wild shriek fills his ears. Listen to this and tell me what it could possibly be, animal or otherwise.
Boy, you know I ain't going down yet, right?
Whatever it is, it sounds about medium-sized, but vicious enough to tear your throat out if given the chance. Even Douglas doesn't seem to recognize the menacing noise and decides not to go any deeper. But since he did come all the way out to this area by foot to do some exploring, he decides to hang around the cave entrance for just a bit longer. After all, it's brighter here, and he doubts whatever he heard is going to come out of the darkness. He explores for another 2 minutes or so, studying the natural rock formations and whatnot, and then decides to call it a day. But unknown to him, looking back at him from the darkness are two glowing eyes that quickly disappear, and if you listen closely, you can hear some kind of chittering language that could indicate a certain level of intelligence. A YouTuber named Sarah Elizabeth brings some friends to search for ghosts at the Columbia State Park in California. When they start hearing weird noises, they think it could be an old water pump turning on, but I'm not so sure. So you tell me what this is.
45 degrees out, so it's pretty cold. What is that sound?
Later, they are walking down a historic street when they get a bad feeling about one of the houses. These historic houses are empty, and no one has lived in them for quite some time. Check out the curtains here at the 10-minute mark. Notice how they are pretty much closed. Now look again, and 15 seconds later, you'll see they do appear to be open much wider this time.
Doesn't that curtain look like it's moving? Over there?
Finally, as they look out onto the old creepy street, their camera picks up this nearby growl. They don't seem to hear it until later, but tell me if you can. A YouTuber captures an apparition on his doorbell cam that somehow changes shape and color. First, it has an oversized white head with no face, then it becomes see-through to the point where you can make out the bush behind it, and then it switches to a blinding white color without getting thinner. The whole time it somewhat resembles a human in height and gait, but how? Since this is the only footage of the apparition, we may never know. This witch is up to no good. Published by Zona Paranormal Veracruz in December of 2021. This scary video starts with a flash. While in this graveyard, the man appears to have happened upon a ritual being performed. A figure is speaking and making this fire come to life. Later, amongst the mausoleums, the man hears that strange voice again in the darkness. Followed shortly by a high-pitched, sing-song voice. The man then falls forward hard, pushed by an unseen force. He sees a ghostly figure from a distance approaching him. And then it's too close for comfort. The fire is blazing again, and upon approaching the fading flames, the cameraman sees a witchy woman hunched over departing.
Señora, solo vengo a explorar, no vengo a hacer daño. Allá adentro una sombra, allá adentro.
What sort of ritual was this witch performing? This cameraman might find out in his days to come. April and Kevin of a YouTube channel called AK Explorations team up with some of their ghost hunting friends to take on the Florida Grand Opera House, a historic location established in 1884 that is rumored to have acquired quite a few spirits over the past 135 years. April stands behind the scenes and gazes upon a row after row of empty seats. She's busy taking in the sights when she captures this paranormal moment on camera. At 4 minutes and 48 seconds, a shadow figure walks between the red curtains on the other side of the opera. I was thinking that this could have just been the shadow of one of the other people she was with, except for 3 things. First, there's also a passing shadow on her side of the room at 4 minutes and 46 seconds. It happens next to her, and exactly 2 seconds before it happens again on the other side of the room. Second, there's a really weird noise before the shadow person appears. She kinda makes a sigh, but there's also like a shrieking noise or something at the same time. Third of all, these orbs appear when she tries to tell Kevin about the experience.
Who's back there? I waited. I saw someone walk back there.
Next, they go to the balcony seats, and a strange feeling overtakes April at 7 minutes and 27 seconds.
Weird up here, guys. Let's sit here for a minute. Actually, here for a minute.
This strange white anomaly appears 2 seconds after she says she doesn't feel normal up here. It does look like a floating hair, but it also kind of looks like a phantom outline walking down the steps. The feeling grows so strong that she needs to step away and regather her thoughts. She turns around and is sure she's being watched again, and I'm almost sure I see the curtains move right where she believes it to be.
Guys, it feels really weird. Right here. Chelsea's doing her awfulest down there.
When AK Explorations aren't exploring fancy operas, they are usually busy investigating much less sophisticated haunts, like this chicken farm in the middle of nowhere. Eyes are on them from afar before they've even stepped foot inside, hopefully those of a wild animal rather than a restless spirit. though probably the latter based on what they soon encounter.
Middle of the night, by ourselves.
April immediately feels watched as they enter the abandoned home. She turns around and her light barely manages to catch more eyes, along with whatever this is.
Sorry, I heard something behind me.
It's a different color than the surrounding green plants, and it looks much closer than anything else, possibly even on the porch with her. She doesn't notice and moves on. Inside, all of the windows are blacked out so that no light gets through. Though I don't know why anyone would choose to do this, and I was hoping you might have a reason for it. In the corner of the living room is a knotted rope surrounded by flies. I don't know what happened here, but I'm glad they didn't check to see what's inside the black garbage bag right next to the rope. Next, April and Kevin sweep over the house with a black light to see if there are any signs of a struggle. Sure enough, at 10 minutes and 33 seconds, they find a red stain on the bed that is not visible without their equipment. A second similar red stain is found on the mattress at 10 minutes and 42 seconds, so something happened here. A noise interrupts April right as she suspects someone could still be in here.
Do you hear that?
I'll admit that I didn't hear anything at first, but soon a strange hum fills the air. This house has no power, so nothing should be humming at all. You really hear it at 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Babe, come here. Oh, come here, let's go ahead.
The noise guides them to one room in particular. Something in their mind tells them not to go any further. A sixth sense warning that danger is near. April reasons that the floor might not be able to support their weight, but I'm pretty sure they felt the presence of whatever this is.
Is this just, you think it's safe to walk on?
It's a noise they do not hear until they watch the video much later. Looking back, all they knew was that it was time to leave. You have phantom coworkers? Well, you're not the only one. Published by David Condley in February of 2017, this security footage was captured at around 5 in the morning. The video doesn't identify the workplace, but the footage shows a reception area, perhaps of a hotel. A man is sitting at the front desk on a computer when this happens. Maybe it's just a breeze, or so you would think, as the man stares at the piece of paper perplexed. A tree in the corner of the room starts to shake. This prompts the man to jump to his feet in shock. Spooky noise ensues, and this creepy combination sends the man leaping over the counter and fleeing this haunted place. Are his coworkers playing a trick on him? Or are his coworkers ghosts? Either way, he might want to start checking the job ads. A dinner date goes wrong and leads to a public freakout at the movie somewhere in Mexico. The girl with curly hair stands over her boyfriend as they continue to argue, and he gets up in return. She throws her popcorn down and looks ready to leave, and she kind of does in a way, but not at all how you would expect her to. Translate what is being said here if you can. I still hear her speaking directly in front of him, and then she is gone. Her form is replaced by a strange man with dark hair, who looks around and takes off. Strangely enough, he appears to be wearing the same clothes as her, a white shirt and tan jacket. Meanwhile, she is nowhere to be found. The camera angle misses what happens off screen, but people are saying this could be a shapeshifter in action. The boyfriend apparently passes out from the surprise of seeing this metamorphosis, and everyone runs out of the theater in unison. The amateur video left behind real enough, but the whole situation seems entirely impossible. So what do you think? I need to include this video because I've never come across a paranormal video before with such an even split between people saying that it's absolutely fake and so obviously real. Some people are certain that this is the legitimate ghost of a child, and others are sure that this is special effects, light reflections, and a plastic bag, and a host of other non-paranormal explanations. As for me, I think that I probably would have noticed something that large moving out of the corner of my eye, so I think it could be fake. But then again, I can't say for sure unless I was there myself. Maybe the camera recorded something that was not discernible by the naked eye. A YouTuber named Jude the Cool Dude is making a video tour of his house when he discovers something new on the 3rd floor.
Wait. Wait, is that a door?
Concealed behind a hidden wall panel is a cramped room with extremely small furniture, including a tiny table with a single candle for light. Terror spreads across Jude as it dawns upon him that he could very well be standing in the hiding spot of an intruder who has been living here for some time. It even looks like whoever inhabited this place may have rerouted the wiring to divert power to this part of the house. It's almost impossible to tell if this video was staged or legitimate, but with all of the stories I've read about people living in houses for years without being discovered, I really wouldn't be surprised if this was real. Either way, Jude decides to quietly close the trapdoor and never mention this find again. What should you do when the Ouija board answers you? Published to the r/ghosts subreddit, Nepa Smash asks viewers their thoughts on this scary video, which was filmed during a Ouija board session in a haunted room of their home. In the clip, the group asks if any spirits would like to communicate. After a moment, there is an alarming bang off screen.
Are there any spirits that would like to communicate with us?
Two of the boys look up. Right before the bang, however, another mysterious action unfolds, but it's hard to see if you don't know it's there. A paintbrush is thrown across the room. Although it's difficult to tell in the video, this Imgur photo shows the incident in more detail. Many in the thread think a non-supernatural explanation might be that the guy laying on the floor off to the right could have played a trick on the others somehow, but some note that he doesn't even seem to react. As for the knock, well, the combination of the knock and the projectile does seem uncanny. Setting the rest aside, Redditor Eekecum draws the right conclusion. Please tell me you closed out of the Ouija board after that. Who knows what might have happened if they didn't. This footage was taken at the Chapelfield Mall in Norwich, UK. The mall is closed when a mysterious red balloon makes an appearance out of nowhere. As you watch this balloon float around on its own, keep in mind that the air conditioning was off, the escalator was off, and there is supposedly no wind blowing in from the outside. If all of this is true, then how exactly did the balloon move without any air currents? Even more bizarre is how the balloon stays low to the ground the entire time, almost at the height of a child. Could this balloon simply be half deflated, or is it being held by a youthful spirit? YouTube channel KBC Cazadores de Fantasmas investigated the site of a reported unidentified flying object landing.
Tá vindo a mata, João. Não, não é bicho não. Nunca vi bicho não, os barulhos não.
They come across a burning ember. Was someone recently here? Shortly after, they see something watching them.
Tá lá agora. Tá lá, vermelho. Mano, tem alguma coisa ali. Irmão, tô vendo. Não, mas pera aí, mano, ela tá focando. Pedro. Alô? João, é olho, João.
They quickly grow frightened.
Tá de frente comigo. Correu, João. Pedro, olha ali pra baixo, Pedro. Cadê a gente? Não, correu pra cá. Correu pra baixo, mano. Mano, tá mudando de forma, mano.
They find nothing there, but as they're about to call it a day, they hear something again.
Que porra é essa, mano?
and then they leave us to guess what's next. I think they were being stalked, but I don't think their stalker was human. We'll have to tune into the next episode to find out. Have you ever played hide and seek with a ghost? Posted in April of 2020, this footage shows you can run but you can't hide. Entering a disused building at night, which appears to have been an office building of some kind, this brave soul navigates the deserted place with rooms littered with debris and office chairs overturned in the hallway. The guy filming seems to sense the presence of something unseen. He addresses it, but nothing makes itself known. Looking up and down hallways and around corners, he decides to ascend the stairs. On the second level, an overhead fan is spinning. With no electricity on, this movement is incredibly eerie. He calls out again to whatever presence is in the haunted building, before tentatively walking up the rest of the stairs and turning the corner to another hallway. He exhales audibly in relief after finding the hallway empty. As he walks down the hall, with small scraps of paper scattered everywhere on the floor, he hears a sharp click. He kicks a door from one of the adjacent rooms open. Checking all corners of the room and behind the door, he finds no one and nothing in there. He runs to the opposite room, also kicking the door open and entering it to find it empty, apart from furniture. He returns to the hallway, looking back and forth several times before continuing down the hall. As he turns another corner, scanning the next hallway and its rooms, he screams as an office chair glides past behind him. When he turns to enter a room, he kicks the chair away from him, but moments later the chair moves again as he continues down the hallway. Now the noises really escalate. There are bangs and sounds coming from every direction. As he walks past a room, the door slams shut. He enters the room and a window slides open. More sounds bang all around, causing him to race out of there for his life.
Bismillah, Allahu Akbar.
As he arrives at the stairwell, a loud screeching is heard, like tables being moved around, only the screeching doesn't stop for a long time. After watching this footage, one thing's for sure, this haunted building is not for the faint of heart. A man is holding very still with his arm out at an odd angle. That's because he doesn't want to attract the wrath of this dangerous little fellow who somehow slithered into a scary situation. He is helpless as his friend carefully pinches his sleeve to determine where the snake is. He makes a cutting motion with his free hand to tell his friend what to do, not wanting to alert the snake with the vibrations of his voice. Once they carefully cut away the sleeve, you can see the snake is curled around his right bicep and in no hurry to leave. The mouth is right by his arm and it would take less than a second to strike with fangs. They wisely pull open the sleeve with the scissors to distract the snake and get its head away from his arm, but there's not enough room so they need to cut more. By now the snake is getting upset, so with no time left, they reach in and scoop him out. I guess they could have done that the whole time, but it was much too risky to be a first option. Take a look at its markings and tell me what kind of snake this is. I'm guessing by the way they handle it with such extreme caution that it has to be venomous. A woman was caught disappearing on multiple CCTV cameras at the same time. The incident made the news, and basically nobody is certain what happened. Take a look at these two completely different angles. I can understand a camera malfunction happening once, but the chances of it happening to two separate cameras at the same time is very slim. I don't understand how this could happen, and I'm eager to read your opinions. Do you think that this woman has truly disappeared? A man on a train awakes to find someone staring at him in a weird way, a ghost in the window to be precise. The pale figure doesn't move, supposedly locking eyes with the passenger, who at this point is beyond creeped out, feels watched, and thinks this is some scary stuff to wake up to. When zoomed in, it could be the reflection of something inanimate, though of what I'm not so sure. Whatever it is, the transparent outline of a face is still visible nonetheless. If you still can't see it, look on the right side of the window and you'll see a weird face with a long, narrow nose and all black eyes pressed against the glass. I assume the person who caught this on camera takes this train often and has never seen anything like this before. So what could this strange sighting be? A paranormal crew communicated with numerous unearthly entities in this haunted place. Published by Paranormal Voyages in January of 2022, the crew first records a disembodied voice that they don't seem to hear in the moment.
Yeah.
A moment later, while they're communicating through the spirit box, something appears over one of their shoulders. They then hear what sounds like a scream.
It's like a scream. Yes, it's a scream.
Oh, that was disembodied.
That sounded like it was disembodied to me.
It was a scream.
The spirits tell one of the crew to move forward.
Something's telling me for you to move forward a little more.
What? What the heck was that? You hear that?
Whoa. Oh.
I want to move forward.
Later, while using a Kinect, an anomaly is detected. After being bombarded with questions, the spirits have a question for the crew.
But why? Oh! No. Oh my! You hear that whisper? But why? But why? I asked for a baby, yeah, and we said no, and it goes, but why?
While they continue to communicate, one of the crew feels a sharp pain in his heart.
What? Jeez. My heart just hurt. You alright? Yeah, I think that was like a sharp pain.
Back with the Kinect, another anomaly makes its presence known. What do all these spirits want with the living? Maybe if we listen closely, we'll hear it. Jackal 365 goes exploring his old creepy attic the day after hearing scary noises all night. 1 minute and 55 seconds is when something is caught moving on camera. He reaches the back of the attic and strains his eyes in the darkness to see it.
See anything?
A face drops down in front of the camera. Apparently the creature was hanging above him the whole time. He could have simply held a mannequin head upside down in front of the camera to create that effect, but his terrified squeal says otherwise. A YouTuber named Musafir Vlogs is biking through India late at night when something causes his bike to stop working. They later claimed during this part to have felt a spirit close by, and upon starting their bike heard a voice. I'm not sure if I hear it or not, but since this video has a lot of likes and so many people who claim to hear it, maybe I'm just not listening correctly. I think I might hear a gulping noise at 7 minutes and 18 seconds. Almost like someone taking their final breaths underwater. Tell me what you hear. South Korean ghost hunter Uni has caught some really weird things on tape while exploring this abandoned house of spirits. His method of ghost hunting is to pretend he does not believe in the spirits, which he hopes will anger them enough to show themselves one way or another.
어차피 니들이 나한테 물건 던지고 뭘 한다고 한들 다 바람이라고 생각할 거야.
I've never seen somebody use reverse psychology on the spirit world, but it seems to work just as well on them as it does on the living. It could be the wind moving the curtains, but the K2 meter lighting up shortly after has me thinking it's a ghost.
자, EVP 녹음기 한번 해볼게요, 형님들. 녹음을 해보고 일단 그 다음에 좀 잘 맞아 들어간다고 하면 고스트 박스를 켜봐도 되고.
Uni Swoon verifies the paranormal activity in this haunted place with other ghost hunter equipment. It's creepy, but notice there seems to be a lot of wind judging from the way this material is flapping. I was wondering if a strong breeze could set off this motion detector. Let me know. The investigator is very thorough and further confirms this place is haunted with facial recognition software.
와, 씨발 대박. 문 앞쪽에 여기 있네. 지금 살피고 야 밑에 뭐 밑에 하나 더. 야 뭐야. 야 애기도 있어?
After his camera detects a face, it starts to flash green where it just was. Is this strange glitch a sign of residual paranormal energy? This is also an object moving back and forth on the door in its wake, although that could be the wind. When he moves the phone over the stroller, he sees the spirit protecting it. It's not from just one angle either. It's whenever it passes over the object, which makes me think this ghost sighting video's real. I guess even the spirit world is protective of its young. A Russian YouTuber named Fikfos decides to feed a bear a late night fish snack through his window. There's only one problem. Supplies are limited, and the bear seems to want to help itself to everything at once. Multiple times it has to be reminded to mind its manners, and at 24 seconds you can see for yourself that I'm not exaggerating when I say its paw is the size of your head, with long black claws the size of your whole finger. Feeding time becomes less fun when you realize the only way to close this window is by reaching out into the darkness past the hungry bear's mouth to grab this latch. They wait until it walks away satisfied before closing the window. Thankfully, it didn't try to get in this time, but bears have a long memory, and surely it will be back when it's hungry. Perhaps next time for them if no fish is available. In July of 1973, Clara and Phil Dandy moved into this unassuming farmhouse bordering the woods of Hinsdale, New York, thinking that it would be a nice cozy place to raise their children. They would hardly last for more than a year. Their troubles began within days of moving in. Minor annoyances like constant hang-up phone calls and cabinet doors getting left open, and then not so minor things like a soft chanting coming from deep in the woods. Soon apparitions were roaming the 100-year-old house along with faces in the windows. As the weeks dragged into months, they recruited the help of a clergyman named Father Alphonsus to cleanse the house, upon which they claimed to have felt a scream rattle the walls, followed by a period of calm. However, the peace and quiet lasted only a few days before the spirits returned in full force, forcing the devastated Dandy family to move out 13 months later in October of 1974. The house has chewed through a few more families since then. None of them stayed for long, but nobody knows what they saw. The house couldn't sell and fell into a state of disrepair until 2015, when a paranormal investigator named Daniel Clace purchased it for him and his team to conduct their research. Daniel is an author, speaker, and paranormal documentary maker who co-founded the Western New York Paranormal Society in 2012. He has been interested in the paranormal his whole life, and that's why these videos seem legitimate, starting with this one in the downstairs bedroom. These spheres of light could be dust particles, or they could be spirit orbs that appear when the air becomes charged with paranormal energy. One thing that's weird is they are always moving straight up, all of them, and sometimes two at a time. This live camera feed is over 30 minutes long, and not once does an orb move downwards. That's definitely odd. And remember, I said faces are seen in the window. Well, I think this might be one of them, black eyes and all. Daniel uploaded the next video after he led a different team of ghost hunters investigate, a group called the Warriors of the Paranormal. They didn't want to miss anything, so they slept in shifts. One of them, named Bobby Ann, is asleep on the couch when this appears over her. A closer view only presents more questions. I see tiny ears, but the face is blacked out and it has no visible eyes or a mouth. It looks like it could have been fur, but that could also be bare skin. It's not a raccoon or a small dog, but those are the only two things it even remotely resembles. Maybe it could be a hand puppet, but there's no room for a second person to lay beside her, and she is facing the camera with the covers over her, so it can't be her. And it almost definitely can't be a wild animal, because I think even the deepest sleeper would wake with something so close. This is a different view from behind the couch. Bobby Ann turns in her sleep and looks at what's wrong with her arm. This part looks like their arm, but this circled part looks like something entirely different as it raises up then disappears, so maybe it was part of the blanket or something. But this rising dark apparition definitely is not. I don't know about you, but that definitely looked like some shadow person activity, or maybe edited. Either way, I've saved the creepiest part of all for last. Check out this ghostly figure standing over the couch. It looks like a little girl in a dress with her head down watching. I bet you didn't notice, but she was there all along. Scary Surreal Places in Time Lapse is a YouTube channel that speeds up raw footage of odd and interesting locations in search of anything out of the ordinary. They are recording a pure at random when this strange creature comes rushing towards them. I would say this is just a fish, but the animal clearly starts on land and paddles to them before submerging at the last second. They shine their lights around both sides of the pier, but whatever it was is long gone. The animal is very small, but the wide wake left in its path suggests that it's much more powerful than it seems. Leave me your best guess as to what this could be, because even the uploaders of this video have never seen anything move like it before, and they themselves are not sure what it was. Is that a hula hoop? Posted to TikTok by Camilo Rodriguez, a dark ring looks like it's burnt into the sky above. The mysterious video was captured in Colombia on March 6, 2022. After searching for some explanation, I couldn't find any for this specific ring, but I have found that it's not unique. One appeared over Pakistan in 2020 and is thought to have been caused by a small combustion blast through a circular structure. Again, one in Britain in 2014. This was traced back to a fireworks test. And finally, over Chicago in 2012, this one traced to the rupture of an electrical transformer. So while this may look like an ominous vortex to misery, I guess it's actually an ominous vortex of mystery. A garbage man in New York City leaked this video online to show us a scary side of the industry that we were never meant to see. He needs to pull this dumpster down an alley to the garbage truck. Most of us would walk right up and grab the handle, but the veteran worker does something important first. He kicks the dumpster and waits. That's because out here you can get surrounded by a mob of rats if you walk up to their territory without giving them a heads up. Kicking makes them scatter away.
Come on, bro. Come on. Get your stuff together and get out of here. Get all your boys. Get all your boys. Let's go. Yeah.
This dumpster must not have much food in it because only a few run away instead of dozens like normal. Now comes the hard part.
Now we're going to attempt to move the can.
He gives a sharp tug and lets go. When nothing confronts him, he proceeds. He gets halfway down the alley when something creepy decides to make his day twice as difficult.
Still. Come on, bro. You gotta go. Can't go back in there.
This one is smaller than the rest, but it's stuck around longer than the others and seems twice as territorial. It starts to run away and then it gets another idea. I'm not sure if he fell over or dropped the camera, but the rat, scared and caught up in the moment, jumped straight at him. It looks like an aggressive move rather than just trying to get away. That rat did not want to give up its dumpster. This is why garbage men are paid more than teachers. Jokes the top comment of this video. I'm not sure if this statement is true, but after seeing this video, do you agree with it or not? And if this is how crazy just one rat acts, imagine how scary it would be to get chased down an alleyway by a whole swarm of them. Talk about a tough and thankless job. This entry is a double dose. The first video comes to us from YouTuber Black Cat in November of 2021. The cameraman is filming from outside a bedroom. At first everything is still and silent. Then the wardrobe doors swing open and close. Plastic bags and other objects are all tossed out of it. They aren't tumbling out, they're literally being ejected. When the cameraman enters to investigate the wardrobe, you can see there is shelving that would prevent anyone of a normal size from hiding in there, out of view and throwing the stuff out. As the camera pans over the wardrobe, noise is heard from behind the cameraman, who jerks around to find a bunch of papers being dispelled from I'm not sure where. While this poltergeist mystery goes unsolved, let's turn to the next one. Published by Nikki McMillan in November of 2021, this security footage was captured at Nikki's workplace. Fine porcelain and glassware is encased in glass in the shop. Nobody is around. Then a solid frame decides to skydive from a shelf in the hallway. There's nothing behind the frame, and nothing on the shelf that would have caused it to spring overboard. A closer view of the shelf makes this all the more mysterious. Like the activity in the other video, the frame does not look like it just tumbled from the shelf. It appears as though it's being actively ejected. What witchcraft is at play here? Are these just random tumblings? Or are these entities actively poltergeisting? A YouTuber known as Mr. Carter experiences some strange activity in his bedroom, starting with a lamp that crackles with an abundance of electricity in the air, possibly paranormal energy. And this chair moves by itself as a burst of orbs becomes visible. Is something pulling a string under the bed? Probably not. The antenna falls over and a barely visible orb floats over the radio itself. The chair lurches in the other direction, followed by something breathing. It's very faint, so tell me if you want to hear it. I'm going to have to go with a poltergeist on this one, but tell me what you think. This doll room is said to be quite haunted, and you're about to see why when this tassel starts moving by itself. It looks like certain portions of the covers move by themselves, as indicated by their square motion boxes, but it's actually just this woman who is moving in her sleep and easy to miss. So either this is fake, or the combined paranormal energy of all these creepy dolls is enough to get this ornament to move. On April 5th of 2016, this mysterious UFO was seen hovering around the International Space Station at 7:23 in the morning during a NASA live stream.
I'll have to close out and open it back up again. Copy.
A flat disk slowly rises on the blue horizon in the distance. It grows larger and larger and then appears to briefly invert itself while continuing to the surface. I have no idea what this thing could be, so please give me your best guess. As far as I know, NASA has yet to give an official explanation. A YouTube channel called Jaeger Expective is partying at a rental home. They soon suspect is haunted after running some experiments. According to them, these motion-activated lights don't turn on unless someone is in the room, yet the lights come on here when the room is empty.
Isn't that censored?
I think the lights might turn on whenever the door opens though, because when you watch it again, that's pretty much exactly what happens. So they could be wrong about the lights, but next they hear a faint sound from far away. It sounds like one of those really old-fashioned phones that used to have an actual bell on top.
Everybody has their phones, right?
Everyone decides to talk about it again in the morning, and they go to bed, or at least they try. Strange sounds continue throughout the night, stuff that's hard to catch on camera, like a single footstep and nothing else. in the morning, they also have a bad feeling and feel what they describe as a chilly vibe permeating every room. Jaeger does a quick recording of every room in the house and picks up this figure, which I think could just be his reflection in a mirror, or maybe not. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by BushWookie83, this redditor wrote, "Looks like Mike Myers paying me a visit. WTF is that?" Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Hey man, that was cool. What are you doing? What's going on? You okay? Can I get away? Do you want me to say how you're doing?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Duck Consume Bread wrote, "Man, I don't know how you could just sit there. I'd already be moved out, lol." While Neo1LoneWolf6985 wrote, "It looks like the reflection of your flashlight on your phone, reflecting on certain parts of the glass, giving off the illusion of a face actually. Looks like the exact same tattoo I have of Michael Myers on my arm. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments." You expect to be entertained by Monday Night Football, not frightened, but some people were when they saw a groundskeeper vanish into thin air in the background of the newsfeed. In the footage, Jamie Carragher and Phil Neuville discuss the events of the night while presenting at Sky Sports Studio. Live on air behind them, the TV sets show a groundskeeper at the Stadium of Light seemingly preparing the grounds for the upcoming event or repairing them after the game. As he crosses the field in Sunderland, suddenly he simply vanishes. Those who spotted the figure were aghast. Was this a ghost caught in action on live TV? Some say it may just be overlapping feeds, but others believe what they saw was real paranormal activity. A YouTuber named Skits comes across a man lying motionless in his car with the door wide open. They check his pulse, which is reasonable, but instead of calling the police or an ambulance, they decide to do him a solid and drive him home to the address on his registration. I mean, it's a nice gesture and all, but if this guy was having a serious medical problem and passes away on their watch, then I'm pretty sure they could be held responsible. Anyway, when they finally pull up to his house, they let themselves in using his keys and leave him in a safe spot. Just when they think they've done their good deed for the day, something completely unexpected happens.
Bobby!
Oh, go.
We were just trying to help her,
Go.
All this poor woman sees is two strangers standing in her home over someone she knows. She probably thought they were in the middle of breaking in. They run out the door, but since they came here in someone else's car, I'm not sure where they were going, but they managed to get away. I feel like this situation could have been avoided by just knocking on the door instead of going straight inside without at least announcing themselves. The whole situation borders on the edge of being implausible. Do you think it really happened? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.